Australia's relationship with the Mercedes-Benz C-Class has long been complicated. Over 40 years and 5 generations, on one hand, it's been a paragon of efficiency and safety, but on the other hand, well, the quality and comfort, not so good. Now, the completely redesigned 6th generation version is here. With its shrunken S-Class looks, it's set out to take on not only the BMW 3 Series and Audi A4, but rivals as disparate as the Tesla Model 3 and Hyundai Ioniq 5. So, the question is the latest C-Class good enough to take on all those? Let's find out. Now, as usual, this video will be divided up in chapters listed right here. And if you're watching on YouTube, there's also the timeline markers below, so you can find whatever you want anytime you like. My written review is on the CarsGuide website. And if you are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to receive notifications of these and other reviews coming soon. Bad news first, the new C-Class costs more, some $12,000 to $15,000 more depending on grade. The old station wagon is no more, thanks to the great rise of SUVs. Shame Australia, shame. And diesel engines, well, they're also history in the C-Class. But the news isn't all bad because even though it costs more, Mercedes gives you more. Here's how. Right now, there are 2 sedan versions of the new W206 series on offer. The base C200 from $78,900 before on-road costs, and the more powerful C300 grade from just over $90,000. On top of the front electric seats, satellite navigation, automatic parking, dual-zone climate control, artificial leather Mercedes brands Artico and 18-inch alloys that the C200 came with previously, the new one now adds an AMG line body kit and interior trim, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, a 360-degree camera, auto high beam headlights, and keyless entry/start. These go a long way to offset that $12,000 price hike. Plus, for the first time, you'll also score a center airbag between the front seats, fingerprint scanner ID tech for the new 11.9-inch multimedia display, and a 48-volt mild hybrid system to help cut fuel consumption and emissions. Note the engine's also been downsized from 2 litres to just 1.5 litres. More on that later. Meanwhile, the C300 gains all of the gear above, as well as leather trim, privacy glass, and a driver assistance package plus. A very worthwhile addition since it brings active blind spot assist, active brake assist with cross traffic function, active emergency stop assist, and active lane keeping assist, among heaps more driver assist safety features. I go into more detail in the safety section, or please visit my CarsGuide review online for a thorough rundown of all the latest C-Class features. Of course, these are just the start of a wave of fresh C-Class models. Soon, they'll be joined by the AMG 43 and thunderous AMG 63 sports sedans, as well as plug-in hybrid versions, so stay tuned. Or hit the subscribe and bell icon for notifications on YouTube for all the latest news and reviews. If you're looking at the new C-Class for the first time from the front, you'll probably think, it looks just like the old one. And that's true. But if you move around the side, you'll see that its proportions have changed significantly thanks to the more raked windscreen, the shorter overhangs, and the cleaner lines, which give it a slightly smaller S-Class look. That's more in fitting with where Mercedes wants to place this car against its 3 Series and A4 competitors. Additionally, moving out to the rear, you'll notice that the bumper has a sports diffuser, which makes it look just a little bit more aggressive from the back, plus the tail lights are split. And by that I mean, when you open the boot, some of it comes up. So what that does is it allows for a wider aperture that makes it easier to load stuff in and out of the 455-litre boot. The shrunken limo looks aren't just the whim of some designer or Mercedes-Benz marketing department copywriter either. Underneath is an albeit highly modified version of the latest S-Class's MRA2 platform, which results in the longest and widest C-Class in the series' 40-year existence, as well as the first with this level of electrification capability. The wheelbase also sees a stretch by 25mm over the previous model, and all that goes to benefit rear seat passenger space. And get used to this new interior aesthetic and general layout. It's the look that's probably going to filter through to most coming non-EQ branded Mercedes models over the next few years. From S to C to future E and A classes and beyond, it's a rare instance of trickle-down economics actually working. One of the best things about the new C-Class is that it's larger and therefore roomier than before. It's also higher quality, easier to use, more comfortable sitting, and just overall more of a delight to behold. Let's get into some of those details now. The old C-Class dash looked and felt like it was designed for a much cheaper car, especially compared to Audi's efforts. Obviously related to the S-Class this time around, it's clear Tesla provided the inspiration for the twin floating screen look and layout, which are just right in their driver orientation and ease of functionality. There's never really been anything wrong with Mercedes' old front seats, but these AMG line sports items are both sumptuous and bracing, keeping their occupants well located ahead of the clever and thoughtfully laid out dashboard. The brilliantly high-resolution MBUX multimedia and voice recognition system now works as it should, intuitively and logically, with a screen menu simple to recognise and easy to use, and most without the need to get lost in confusing sub-menus, just like BMW has managed for years. If you want to change the instrumentation design, it's now a couple of clearly marked steps using handily placed switchgear. The same goes for the superb climate control and audio systems. And the wireless Apple CarPlay Android Auto connected faultlessly and worked a treat. Effortless, see and push operation all around, backed by concise and classy graphics. No more degree in Earth to Mercedes comm skills required to master this C-Class interior. Yet there's just enough old-school Benz features to appeal to brand diehards, from the eternal door card-mounted electric seat controls and column-mounted gear shifter to the deep center console and turbine face-level air vents. They meld together beautifully with the advanced tech also on offer, like the optional augmented reality head-up display with 3D graphics. Annoyingly, on one of our test cars, that tradition also extended to a couple of squeaks and rattles, proving that maybe Mercedes hasn't quite conquered all its past quality gremlins just yet. And, like most luxury cars nowadays, endless ambient lighting choices are available of dubious taste. Never mind, this is still the finest C-Class front seat environment since, well, probably since the original W210 190E's debut in the 1980s. And all that extra dimensions pays dividends in terms of interior space in the back seat. Now, I'm sitting behind myself and I'm 178 centimeters tall, and I've got plenty of knee room, headroom's good, even with the optional sunroof fitted, and there's ample shoulder space. So it's more comfortable than any C-Class ever has, just in terms of sheer dimensions. There's also added practicality to be found with the very large and deep door pockets in the rear doors, map seat pockets behind the front seats, and this center armrest that not only has an iPad holder, but if you press it twice, voila, you also get a couple of cup holders as well. The air vents, overhead lighting, grab handles, coat hooks, the works. This is a well thought out and equipped little family car. Plus, the C-Class comes with this folding ski port, which along with the folding rear seats increases boot volume in the 455 litre boot to, well, a lot more. That 455 litres is not quite as good as some rivals such as the BMW 3 Series, but it's big enough for this car. One area where Mercedes never skimps is in safety, and as a result, we're expecting the latest C-Class to get a full 5-star ANCAP crash test rating whenever that's conducted and published. So stay tuned for that one. And why shouldn't it? You'll now find 10 airbags, including one between the front seats to protect occupants from colliding into each other in lateral impacts, AEB autonomous emergency braking, adaptive cruise control with active stop-go, a 360-degree camera, active parking assist, drowsy driver monitor, active lane keeping assist, blind spot assist, dusk sensing LED lights, rain sensing wipers, and run flat tyres. The C300 meanwhile adds Driving Assistance Package Plus, which features such items as active blind spot assist, active brake assist with cross traffic function, active emergency stop assist, active lane change assist, active lane keep assist, active steering assist, and active stop and go assist. Basically, this is where the car actually intervenes to help avoid accidents and impacts. There's also the pre-safe side accident anticipation and protection system. For more details, please read my written C-Class review on the CarsGuide website. Probably the biggest departure compared to any previous C-Class is this generation's switch to 4-cylinder only powertrains, including the coming high-performance AMG versions. Now that should be interesting. As I touched on earlier, the C200's 4-cylinder turbo engine is now about 25% smaller in capacity compared to before, down from 2 litres to just 1.5 litres. That's not to say it's lacking in muscle though, since the C200 produces a decent 150 kilowatts of power and 300 newton meters of torque, thanks to turbo tech that also helps it sprint from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 7.3 seconds. These outputs are at least a match for the bigger engine 3 Series and A4 equivalents, by the way. If it's more you want, then the C300 features a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo delivering 190 kilowatts and 400 newton meters, slashing that 0 to 100 time to a speedy 6 seconds flat. There's also an extra 20 kilowatts of overboost available for short periods if you're really in a hurry, while, where legal, it's actually possible to hit 250 kilometers an hour. Both these models send drive to the rear wheels via a 9-speed torque converter automatic transmission, while the mild hybrid system, dubbed EQ Boost, employs an integrated starter generator that provides an additional 15 kilowatts and 200 newton-meters of electric boost at low engine speeds. So, while it doesn't ever run purely on electricity, the electrification tech certainly either brings more punch where it's needed or takes the load off the petrol engine, depending on how you're driving it. That's pretty clever stuff. Remember when I said that the C-Class has moved to an all 4-cylinder engine range? Well, that's because it's all done in the name of fuel economy and efficiency. On the Australian combined fuel consumption cycle, the C200 manages 6.9 litres per 100 kilometres, and that's extremely impressive for a medium-sized sedan weighing almost 1.8 tonnes. So is the fact that the larger C300 uses only 0.4 of a litre more of premium unleaded petrol. We drove both cars for several hundred kilometres on a hot summer's day from inner Melbourne during peak hour traffic to some great curvy roads out in central Victoria, featuring some tight corners and ample opportunity to really stretch both cars' legs. Over these routes, we averaged an indicated 8.4 litres per 100 kilometres in the C200 and, quite astonishingly, just 7.4 litres per 100 kilometres in the C300. Clearly then, along with the advanced aerodynamics and 48-valve mild hybrid tech, all that downsizing works. No need to bother with diesel engines after all in this generation C-Class. Just in case you own a BMW, kudos to Mercedes-Benz for being the first luxury manufacturer in Australia to offer a 5-year warranty, matching most others, though not Kia and some other brands that have 7 years, but at least offering a level of coverage and protection that you don't get with other premium manufacturers. Or rather, didn't, as it's only been very recently that Lexus and Audi have finally joined Mercedes. Anyway, Mercedes-Benz offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty with roadside assistance. Service intervals are 12 monthly or at every 25,000 kilometres, whichever occurs first. There's also a 4-year cap price servicing plan, starting at $550 for the first year, $900 for the second, $1,000 for the third, and $2,450 for the fourth year, totaling $4,900. Alternatively, buyers can also choose 3 pre-purchase service plans to save money. It may look like the old C-Class from some angles, but make no mistake. From the new mild hybrid engine tech to the fresh MRA2 architecture that includes a completely redesigned 4-link front and multi-link rear axle with optional 4-wheel steering as per our C300 test car, that's where the similarities end. The really big question is, how good are these 4-cylinder engines in the C200 and C300? Let's start with the 150 kilowatt C200 first. Around town, it's sufficiently powerful. You put your foot down, it takes off smartly, and it moves through the gears effortlessly. There's enough punch for you to overtake safely, and at high speed at least, it just doesn't feel like you're driving a car with such a small capacity. It's quite a good engine. It does sound a little bit busy when you're really hoofing along because the engine really needs to rev to create maximum power, but overall it's adequately powerful for a medium-sized car. I think the better engine though is the 190 kilowatt C300. This one of course is a 2-litre engine, and that extra capacity just gives it a little bit more torque where you need it. The engine doesn't have to work so hard, so it's more effortless when it comes to overtaking, and when you're just zipping about, you know, from one place to another, it just goes where you want it to go. It doesn't struggle. Also, it doesn't have to work so hard, so that benefits fuel consumption too, because in the real world we found that the bigger engine actually used less fuel than the smaller engine, so that's another bonus. In terms of steering, well, the C-Class has always been a fairly good steer. Like it's not one to really thrill enthusiasts, but it's got a great chassis that can really keep up with, you know, other sports sedans if you're up for a bit of a challenge. It feels planted, and the steering goes exactly where you want it to go, and there's a feeling of confidence and control in the way this car handles dynamically. It's really one of the better cars in that respect. What it doesn't have is a connection with the driver. The steering doesn't communicate quite as openly as it does in, say, a BMW 3 Series or even Jaguar XE, let alone an Alfa Giulia. Those cars are more slanted towards being sports sedans, while this is more a mini luxury car. And so if you're wanting something with, you know, a bit more athleticism and agility, maybe wait for the C43 or even C63 AMG models when they come on stream later on. I've got to say though that in terms of comfort, the C-Class has really moved on. Even in the steel sprung version like the one we're in now with the optional 19-inch alloy wheels, which is part of the sports pack, the ride is no longer thumpy or busy, and you're not feeling like your posterior is feeling every little bump on the road surface. It's well cushioned and certainly comfy enough for most people, and it gets better with more people inside the car too, so a load really helps. Of course, if you tick the optional adaptive dampers, then the ride turns quite plush. That has a newfound softness to it, which absorbs most bumps like a limo should. That's probably the one to go for if you really want a kind of a luxury car experience. I'm a little bit disappointed that on Australian highways there's quite a bit of road noise that comes through, so I feel the C-Class should be a little bit quieter. There's a little bit of wind noise coming from around the pillars and mirrors as well. But other than that, I think this car is right up there with the best in terms of refinement and giving you a sense of well-being and reassurance. I mean, that's all you can expect from a C-Class, and it delivers. In the beginning of this video, I said that some C-Classes were great and others not so good. Thankfully, this one is one of the better ones. It's easier on the eye, lovelier to sit inside, it's better on your tush, it's safer, better to drive, the works. Sure, prices have gone up. The C200 could use a bit more power and the steering would benefit from a bit more feel and connection, But overall, because it's such a huge improvement over the last one, we give it an 8.4 out of 10. Be sure to go to carsguide.com.au to read my full review online, and if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications of all our reviews. Thanks for watching.